Okay, I think we are about ready to get started here. So just want to welcome everybody. This is the collaborative brainstorming workshop. Thank you all for coming out early on Friday morning. It's good to see so many people here. My name is Carl Bender. I work in Esri's Creative Lab. I work mostly on the marketing side, doing UX and UI for a lot of our web presence.
My name is Julio Ochoa. I'm a design program manager. So what that is I help manage building Esri's design system and design language. A little bit of context just from a design standpoint. So at Esri, we probably have a little bit under maybe like 100 designers in the creative lab, ranging from illustrations. Photographers are still under there, designing for product, designing for marketing, video, and stuff like that. Most of my background has been in the product side for design, UX and UI design. So in a big team, there's always a lot of collaboration, idea sharing, even on smaller teams. So how did brainstorming start? In the 1940s, Alex Osborne, who was mainly kind of managing and facilitating more business meetings, he found that there was not a lot of creativity or thought or kind of new ideas or innovative ideas in that space. So in the 1940s, he came up with the idea and concept of brainstorming. In order to free up people's brains from kind of being so, molded into a specific shape, to free up ideas, spark creativity, and things like that. And it was more in a space where there is a number of people that have different, backgrounds, different perspectives of things, and allowing them in this brainstorming matter to enable these different perspectives and different ideas to generate something new and innovative.
And spontaneity was a pretty big part of that. And though it is, brainstorming methods do have rules. I'm sure some of you have heard of IDEO. They've been kind of at the forefront of design and consulting and just design thinking for the past, 4 to 5 decades. So they're based out of Palo Alto, and they've come up with sort of these seven rules for brainstorming. I'll quickly go over them now. I think 1 and 2 go together a little bit. So 1, defer judgment, and 2, encourage wild ideas. So the idea is that don't shut down your teammates as you are gathering and brainstorming. A lot of the best ideas seem a little bit crazy at first, or seem a little bit impossible, or magic. And also, sometimes if somebody throws out a really crazy idea, it can, while it might not be picked up and used in the end, a lot of times it'll spark something else for somebody else on your team. Number 3, build on the ideas of others. We'll be doing a lot of this today as we go through this process. But look for the things that you like about each other's ideas and use them in your own. So steal from people, build on the ideas of your teammates. The idea is that the collective thought is a lot more powerful than the individual. Number 4, go for quantity. Your first ideas are probably not going to be that great, and most of your first ideas aren't going to make it to the final round most likely. So get as much out there as you can. Don't spend a lot of time really diving into the nitty-gritty of your beginning ideas. Get as many ideas out and on paper as possible. Number 5, stay focused on the topic. So limit your conversations to pre-designated topics. Everything else can kind of wait. So focus on what you're focusing on and leave conversations about last night's party or whatever it was to a later time. And then finally, number 6 and number 7, as I said, one conversation at a time, don't interrupt. Write down your feedback and discuss when it's appropriate time for critique. And number 7, be visual. We'll be doing a lot of this today. So don't just write down a laundry list of words about your ideas, really sketch things out, and we'll show you some examples of that. You don't have to be an artist to do this. Everything can be pretty low fidelity.
All right, so today we're going to be focusing on one method of collaborating. We call it a design studio. And it's a type of brainstorming exercise that gives equal input. It kind of disperses it to everyone. So I don't know if you've ever been in a meeting where just kind of usually one person talks and says like, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is how it's going to be. Design Studio kind of spreads that responsibility to everybody, kind of in the method of a round robin to a certain degree. So that way everybody gets involved, everybody has a voice, and everybody gets to share their ideas. And again, it goes back to this concept of we all do have different backgrounds or understanding of things, and it allows that to all be on the table so that we all get different perspectives of things. And it's also more of a structured method. It has time sequence, and everybody gets to share what their thoughts are. So why Design Studio as a proposed method? So again, like Carl mentioned, generate many ideas early. So the thing about when we're designing stuff, you get to design, you're actually building, like a mock-up or a render of what it can look like in Photoshop or Sketch or something like that. And then you get to okay, now the development team is going to implement it. So in this stage, when we're literally just even on pen on paper, you can very quickly generate a lot of sketches, a lot of ideas very rapidly, and it's very low cost, right? So the Design Studio also fosters a sense of ownership. Everybody in the team or whatever feature is being added is involved. So everybody feels that they're vested in that feature or project that you're working on. And then to tackle all of that, number 3, it forms consensus, right? Everybody who's working on this project or designing a feature, they all have a sense of understanding of the one direction that is chosen by the team to move forward with. And also uncover hidden requirements as you're brainstorming or sketching or throwing out ideas like, oh, we didn't think about this, we're not accounting for that. So there's a lot of things that come up that you might not have thought otherwise if you're just like, hey, we're going to build this, let's just start going. And explore the project scope. The more you understand what you're working on, the more you understand what it might take to get there, to get that final product. And time is always a big concern, right? So the more we understand what this is made of, the more we can understand how long it's going to take, and the more we can be resourceful or economic about how we approach it.
So today we're going to spend most of our time doing a hands-on activity. And what we're going to do is break into teams, and we'll give you all a design problem to solve as a team using the Design Studio method. And I think we're going to probably keep teams pretty small, so 3 to 4 max. And why don't we go ahead and break into teams right now?
Yeah, 4 is a good number, 3 to 4.
Yeah.
You guys good here? You guys got 4? 4, 3. 4 right there. You got 2, 3. Okay, so 3, 3, 4, 3.
Yeah. Let's see how best to do this. Hey guys, I'm gonna hand out some. How many people do you have? 4? All right. There's 4 pens, and I'll give you half a slab of sheets here. Let me turn this off.
All All right, so if I can get your guys' attention again, now that you're in a team. So Carl's going to be passing out some Sharpies and pens and some sketch paper and also some personas for who we're going to be designing for. And if you can see up on the screen, we're designing a mobile application that lets you travel through time. So again, I really want you guys to kind of just be open about stuff, like have fun. This is supposed to be a fun exercise. That's not many times, we don't think about designing a time travel app because we don't travel through time. So it's also something new and creative, just, to spark your creative juices. And again, just like have fun with it. The main point of this exercise is for us to understand like the process of a design studio. A feature can be like, how to do cluster features on a map, right? So just keep that in mind. The actual activity can be, anything you guys want it to be on your team. Yeah. So again, just I guess we're like a government contractor developing a time travel application. The technology has been developed. It's already ready to go. We just need an interface for it, right? And it's our job to design that interface. So does anybody have any questions about our objective for the activity?
Is it written somewhere? It wasn't clear. You mean literally time travel, a time machine?
Yes. So we're designing it. We're designing a mobile application. Yeah. We're designing a mobile interface that lets you travel through time. So, and
produce something. I think we have to have an interface. Let's all sit down. Yeah.
here. Do you want to go? Okay.
These guys need pens, and those guys over there need to finish out. Okay, so let me grab your attention quickly again as Julio is going to be finishing up passing just the last bit of our supplies out. What you see on the screen right now is the an overview of the design studio process. This can take as long as you think is appropriate for your team. So if you end up taking this back to your teams, we don't have much time today, so we're going to breeze through this pretty quickly. The idea is to just give you an idea of how this process works. But you can take as much time as you need with your teams if you take this back home. I'll be explaining each of these steps in detail as we go through. But the general idea here is 1, illuminate, 2, sketch, 3, present, 4, critique, and then number 5, summarize. And as you can see on the screen here, steps 3 through 4 can be repeated as many times as you want, or as many times as needed.
So for the Illuminate, this is where we really just get to understand what we're going to be working with, understand the feature that we're doing or the project in general that we're going to be working on. The scale and the scope of what you're working on is dependent on you and your team. We're focusing on an application for time travel, which is more of a project. But like I mentioned earlier, like say you want to brainstorm like, hey, what are different ways that we can do like feature clustering on a map? Right, whether it be like, hey, it's a big circle with the number 10 because there's too many features to display on the map, or okay, how do we do a pop-up differently? All right, so stuff like that. So it can range in scope. So for Illuminate here, we're going to take 5 minutes to kind of just really discuss the objective, read through the personas as a group, if you guys want to do that in your groups. And we can just start that timer now if you guys don't have any questions.
All right, time starts now. You have 5 minutes to discuss objectives as a group.
Am I on?
All right, I'm going to stop you there. We've hit our 5-minute mark. So if I can get your attention again. You guys are doing a great job. Yep. Can I get your attention back up here?
Don't worry, we're going to have a lot more of just like, everybody being able to share their ideas and actually go through some sketches and work together on stuff.
But we do need to move on to step 2. Step 2 we'll actually start sketching now. So we're going to dive right in and do that. Again, the idea is to sketch as many ideas early on as possible. And again, sketch ideas to help your users travel through time. Think about the user's goals, what they're trying to accomplish, and use your imagination. As I mentioned earlier, the sketches don't have to be very high fidelity. Here's an example of a project that was done a while back, really loose to get those ideas out, and just get as many on the paper as you possibly can early on. This portion is going to take 8 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and start that right now.
Yeah. So we're doing individual sketches.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Yeah, so everybody has 8 minutes, and we're going to everybody do their own sketches, and then everybody in their own group, you're going to share what you did. And if anybody needs pens or papers, just raise your hand.
Yeah, let us know.
All right, so just wrap up the sketches, and then we'll be moving on to the next part. All right, so for the sake of time, we're going to complete step 3 and step 4 together in the next round that we're going to start a timer for. So step 3 is to present. So share your favorite sketches or drawings with the team, and explain your idea and how and why you got there. And again, everybody's going to get a chance to share. So don't worry if they're silly. This is, I guess, where it gets fun, right? Because you get to explore something new, and everybody's going to have something different. So once each person shares, the team will have 2 minutes to offer up critique. So it's kind of like a round robin. Like, try to not spend so much time on yours. So we'll go in a circle in your team. And once everybody's shared their ideas, we'll then take another 2 minutes to just talk and critique. Or like, I like that idea, or I don't like that one. Well, maybe not. Don't say I don't like that one, but like what you like. And remember, the good thing is that we're going to go through this process one more time. So if there's something that you like from someone, like, oh, I can take that and I can maybe change it like this, or I can add to it. The point is to everybody to share, so you can get a broader understanding of what people are doing. And then it might trigger something for you, or it might trigger something for someone else. Just remember, like, don't be harsh with your critique. We're trying to improve a design or do something better. So you're going to have 4 minutes to do step 3 and step 4. So we're going to go in a circle, everybody present, and then after that we can talk as a group and think about like what we like and what we can build on. Okay? So we're going to start the timer now. All right, guys. So we're going to move on to we're going to keep going. We'll have another round, so we'll go through that again as you see here.
Yeah, so hopefully you've come up with some good ideas in this round. We're going to go back and do this whole process again. So we're not done yet. You're not totally pressed for time now.
Yeah, a second. So just remember, this is usually the step, that cyclical step, the sketch, present, and critique. We're going to do that twice a day. We did it once, we're going to do it again. But just remember, in your teams or when you guys get together, you can do this step as many times as you want. The step 1 is illuminate, just understand what your problem is. And then this is where we actually the actual sketching and ideation and brainstorming happens. So we're going to go through that one more time.
And we'll try to give you as much time as possible. So let's jump right back into sketching individually. Yeah. Hopefully you got some good ideas from your team members that you can build on and possibly build into your next round of sketches.
So we're going to get started with just individual sketches again. So from what you heard or what you saw from other people, you can continue to build your idea, or you can integrate others' ideas into yours. It's kind of free range here what you want to do. So we're going to go back to individual sketches starting now. All right, guys. So sketching time is up. And again, we're going to go now to step 3 and 4, and we're going to have a total of 4 minutes. So now that you guys gauged the first time how long it takes to present, try to be conscious of the time you're taking so that everybody gets a chance to show their ideas again. So we're going to start the timer so that we can present our ideas and then do some critique or conversation about what we like about different things that are happening. All right, guys. Let's wrap up the presentations and critique. Do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Is that me or that's...
Okay. Hopefully you guys have all got some good ideas. I'm going to get your attention back up here once more.
All right, guys. That's good though, that you keep talking because it's like engaging, right?
All right, so finally we've reached our last step here. Hope everybody is feeling good about the ideas that you've put together as a team. Step 5 is going to be summarize. So as a team, quickly discuss and decide which direction is the most promising solution. And feel free to combine ideas, make edits, get your pieces of paper together, mash them together in some way that makes sense for you. But take the best ideas, put them together, and kind of summarize the output of what you've all come up with together. This is going to take 5 minutes, and this will be the last step in our brainstorming session today. So go ahead.
All right, guys. We're running short on time. We got about 4 minutes left before we have to wrap up the session here. So I hope that went well and you guys went in a direction that everybody was happy with and felt would be successful for the project and being able to travel back in time. So I just quickly want to come back to this slide, which is kind of the overview of what we just did. So we started with Illuminate, like everybody really kind of understand the personas. Who are we designing this for? What's the problem we're trying to solve? So that you do once, right? That's the beginning. And then this kind of cyclical middle part of these 3 pieces, 2, 3, and 4, that's what we did twice, right? We did 2 rounds of that. And that could be subjective on your group. Maybe you have a bigger group, so you might need more presenting time, right? Which is probably something that we encountered. So all these times down here are subjective to kind of your context, the size of the group. We try to give them smaller because then it'll just take a really long time to go around in a circle to present. So we try to do 3 to 4. But you can do that center cyclical part as many times as your team needs to. Maybe you do 3 rounds. We did 2 rounds, and then the last part we just finished was the summary. So really kind of just bringing it all together, coming together as a group, kind of pick a direction of what we're going to go, and go to the next step. So just quickly, next steps, and again, there are no particular order. So then you start to research, right? We got our design, we designed our project or our new feature. How do we make this happen? What framework do we use? Defining the roadmap and scope. How long is this going to take? Okay, this is a really complex feature. We're going to need this amount of time, and it's going to need this many people. Or you go to more definitive wireframes, right? Or now we're just doing going for quantity, just as many sketches as we could. Maybe then you go to wireframes, or you go to high fidelity mockups or comps to show more color, a little bit more of their branding. More definitive UI, right? And then, or implementation can be the next step. It could be a feature that's already relevant in an application. So you're okay, well, we know what the UI is going to be because our brand is already implemented in our app, and we just need to implement the feature into it. So maybe you just go to implementation. So these are some of the next steps that you can kind of go to. But again, the main takeaway should be in the team that you're working. I know in the past that I used to work on the operations dashboard for ArcGIS, and we did the design studio a few times where we brought in the product owners, and we brought in Ps and QA engineers, and even developers, right? And the great thing about it, at least from my experience, is that everybody's on the same page. Everybody understands hey, this this is a feature that we can move forward with, and everybody understands what it is, and there's no surprises that like, hey, like when did this get added, or who made this decision to add this? So it really is, you get a broad understanding of where we're going with something when you move forward. So that really concludes our session. We really want to thank you guys for coming out. And if you do have a chance to give us some feedback, we would really appreciate it. If you have the events app, you can actually go to the session, and at the bottom of the session, there is actually a few questions to get some feedback for us. Caller, anything to add?
Once again, thanks for coming out so early on a Friday morning on this last day. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your summit and have a safe trip home. Yeah.